Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson.
I'm Haley Dudley.
Timothy D. Hobley.
And welcome back to the Phantom Perspectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 38 of Danny Phantom / the final episode of season 2, Reality Trip. And quick thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought that the overall, I love the villain. Everything else I didn't like. I love the villain. I love the conflict. Everything else I didn't like.
I felt like it was too dry.
Okay, then I personally thought it was fun, but before we get to my thoughts, let's get to the summary. The plot for the episode is that it's the last day of school, summer vacation's on the horizon, and Danny, Sam, and Tucker are planning a cross-country trip to see the various sights of America. Danny wants to go to a NASA space shuttle, whatever. I think a space camp. I think.
Yeah, it was like Space Cadets camp.
Yeah.
Sam wants to go to Gothapalooza, which is pretty much just this goth fest where you go to bands, rock out, or so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker wants to go essentially their version of Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they're getting ready for this, and Danny's especially looking forward to it because he thinks no more ghost hunting. But of course, since there has to be a plot for the episode, of course something bad happens, and that something is Freak Show, all the way back from the end of season 1. It turns out that after he was hauled away by the police, the guys in white arrested him, and so the guys in white, while investigating possible ways to hunt for ghosts, show him a recent artifact they acquired called the Reality Gauntlet. It's essentially
the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, it's the Danny Phantom version of the Infinity Gauntlet, except whereas the Infinity Gauntlet utilized 6 gems, the Reality Gauntlet utilizes 4. 3 that actually have all the cosmic power, and a 4th to power the entire thing altogether. Unfortunately, they only have 3 gems. One is the gem of life that can give life to inanimate objects. One is the gem of form that can change something into something else. And the other is a gem of fantasy. It can bring whatever you imagine to life, pretty much. And so, as such, Freak Show says that they let Freak Show at it because they think it's useless. Though even not that if it was useless, they shouldn't have let him near it. But Freak Show, it turns out, knows everything about the gauntlet because he wrote a book on stuff like this. And it turns out that he actually has the control gem, as when he puts on the gauntlet, he puts it in the gauntlet and brings it to life. But unfortunately, in order to gain full access to the gauntlet's power, you need to activate the gems in a certain order, and unfortunately he doesn't know how to do that, so he can only access the first gem, the life gem.
1 second.
Yeah?
In the book it says that he created it.
No, he didn't create it, he just researched it.
Oh, I thought it was put as he created, because I was thinking, if he created it, how does he not know what order they go in?
No, he just researched it, odds are.
Mm-hmm.
On top, as such, after he uses the life gem to turn the guys in white's guns into snakes to wrap them up, he frees the one ghost of his that actually stayed in his employ, the one whose tattoos she could bring to life, and they break free, and they decide to go go ruin Danny Phantom's life. As such, while Danny does fight them, he doesn't want to do anything to go after them because he still wants his vacation. So after he fights them once, he tries to just forget all about it. But then, hold on a second. So anyway, they go to a Dumpty Humpty concert, but unfortunately, upstairs, Tuka. But unfortunately, Freak Show hijacks it and pretty much makes the audience captive. And I also have to mention at this point that he gained that during that when he fought Danny before, he gained access to the form gem, so he's able to change things into other things. Like he turns the drum set into a giant spider. He turns the fake egg that the band would have come out into an actual monstrous egg. And so Danny's able to fight them, but in the fight, Danny, Sam, and Tucker end up holding onto the gauntlet while they're flying around, and they accidentally wind up actually activating the gems in the proper order, giving him full access to power, and pretty much just making him a god. However, before he can actually do it, since they actually are touching the gauntlet, they have access to this power too, so they each touch a gem and think of a place to send to them, and the gems go away, pretty much leaving it inert again. However, the feedback from it went through, not only threw the 3 off, but it affected Danny, and caused him to transform back into a human, right in front of an entire crowd of people, and several cameras, so everybody now realizes that Danny Phantom is Danny Fenton, something that should have been obvious, but whatever. We're not going to get into that. So now everybody...
Cartoon stupidity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Danny Phantom couldn't be Danny Fenton. I mean, even though they're both prepubescent kids with the same hairstyle, and the one's around, the others are around, and they both have the same name. Oh my god, how do we not realize this?
Because
It's basically
2 letters. 2 letters did it, guys. Those 2 letters
What the
changed it all.
fuck? Your hair
You're welcome.
was wrapped in my chin. All this stuff in my chin. Okay.
You're welcome. I
Any-
shed.
Okay. Anyway, so now that Danny's secret is exposed, the guys in white show up again after having guys in white show up again, even though in the previous scene we saw them they were sick because of something Freak Show did. But they're somehow recovered, and now that they know that Danny Phantom is Danny Fenton, even though just an episode ago they wrote Danny Fenton off as a possible suspect because they thought he was too prepubescent, But Danny tries to fly away, but unfortunately, again, his powers are still trying to recharge, so he can't really do anything. But because Danny Phantom is a hero to all the people there, they not only help Danny escape, but all these other popular kids like Paulina, Dash, and so forth actually kind of wind up helping them. And that's actually kind of something I like with stuff like this. Like, they're not, like, them realizing Danny Phantom's identity doesn't tarnish his reputation. In fact, it enhances Danny's reputation, as it makes him...
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Danny was a nobody.
I know, but...
And so you can't go down from being
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, but again, I like stuff like this, because I always like... It's like one of the reasons why I like going the hero path in Infamous, because I like it when they actually respect you, and while they did insult Danny and belittle him, they don't hesitate when he needs his help when they learn who he is. Like they say, you helped us so many times, we should probably help you.
But Pauline kind of had a second motive.
Yeah, true. In fact, actually that was something I found funny when she realized that Danny Fenton and Danny Phantom were one and the same. She realized, oh, he's totally into me. That makes everything easier for me because she likes Danny Phantom. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So they managed to escape, but Danny's first instinct is to go home and get some stuff because he doesn't think this is a good idea because now everybody knows, but he thinks that they can get the reality gauntlet, he can undo all this, but of course that was a stupid decision because the guys in white are waiting for them there. And unfortunately his parents aren't there, so while they're able to activate all the house's defenses, they get up to the... What was it again? What was it called again?
No, it's the Operation Center.
Yeah, the Operation
Center. 3
Center.
to the Operation Center.
The Operation Center. They manage to get up there, and they manage to jettison it, and it turns into a jet, and they escape. But just as they're getting away, Freak Show contacts them, and it turns out he kidnapped Danny's, Sam's, and Tucker's parents shortly after they learned about Danny's...
Also Jess.
Oh yeah, Jazz, yeah, and also Jazz.
Jazz, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And they shortly after his secret got outed, and he pretty much is using them as collateral, saying, "You guys know where the gems are, and I have your family. So if you don't bring me the gems in 3 days, I'm probably going to kill them." And he doesn't say that, but it's implied, I think. So they realize they have no other choice but to find the gems, but each of them was thinking of a different place to port them to. Danny, the Space Center, Sam, Gothapalooza, and Tucker to Comic-Con. And so, pretty much after that, the rest of the movie is pretty much a road trip. They each going to different places, and each time the gem screws it up. Like the life gem is at the NASA place that brings the rocket to life. That the Gothapalooza, the form gem is there and turns all of Gothapalooza into a bunch.
Teddy bears,
It's the Care Bears Wonderland.
And of course, Sam just hates everything about it.
She kills two people.
You need to find who did this.
Kills 2 people.
Yeah, she ripped 2 heads of teddy bears, and when everything got put back to normal, you realize the teddy bears are actually people. So yeah, Sam's a murderer there.
That's horrible.
And after that, then at the Comic-Con, a bunch of nerds in cosplay find the fantasy gem, and it turns them all into the supervillains they were cosplaying as. And each time the guys in white are hot on their tail, and of course, the fact that Danny Phantom is Danny Fenton is spreading around. So some people are reacting positively to it. Other people are saying he's a wanted felon. So they have to try and be on their toes.
Spider-Man effect.
Pretty much. So they do eventually manage to get all 3 gems together, and they do confront Freak. But it turns out that Freak Show sent his ghost to pretty much track them, and they port them to where Freak Show's keeping their parents, and Freak Show takes the gems from them, puts them in the reality gauntlet, and activates them, and pretty much becomes a god, altering the world to his whim. And rather than and of course, since he's a supervillain, instead of giving the kids their families back, he instead turns their survival into a
game.
Yeah, a game. He puts them on a deadly roller coaster and says you can have a sporting chance. You can say, I'll let you try and save them. But of course, he's trying to screw with Danny at every turn. Like the first chance he tries to stop them, he turns Danny into orange drink, which gets splatted but manages to reform. And of course, the roller coaster they're on is the roller coaster from hell, as it has a giant clown head that shoots fire, 2 giant stone mallets, and if that doesn't kill them, they would most likely fall into a pool of acid. So Danny tries his best to fight off Freak Show and all of his contraptions, but the thing is, while they were being captured, Jazz realized that Freak Show had ghost envy because his family was invested in ghosts because of the staff I'm guessing, so they care more about Ghost than anything, so Freak Show's envious. And so when Jazz tells him about that, saying that he can use psychology, Danny does. As Freak Show and Danny are fighting, he keeps saying, "Well, it's cool being a ghost," and he keeps upstaging him, making it look better, until he eventually tricks Freak Show into using the reality gauntlet to turn himself into a giant, monstrous ghost. But that's exactly what Danny needed, as he then pulls out the Fenton thermos and sucks him in, getting the reality gauntlet as well, and saving his friends and his family and everyone else. When Danny confronts his parents and saying, "I'm sorry about this," rather than being angry, they hug him and say they understand, because considering all the times they said, "Oh, it's okay, considering all the times we said we want to kill ghosts, that we'd be afraid to tell our parent, we'd be afraid to tell too." So Danny thinks that's probably that he liked that they hug it out and everything, but because status quo is God, Danny uses the reality gauntlet to not only undo everything that Freak Show's done, but erases everyone's memories except Sam, Tucker, and Jazz. So now the only
basically it's like this entire episode never happened.
Yeah, that was stupid. I don't understand that at all. Because one of the reasons apparently he didn't tell his parents is because he was still afraid that they would hunt him. Even though in an earlier episode he said they would accept him, but whatever. But they just showed, we understand, we're proud of you, and yada yada yada. And yet he still erases their memories. Why? I don't know. Because the production team decided, we can't have that. Back to the status quo. Back to it with thee. As such, Danny, Sam, and Tucker decide they're just going to spend Amity Park. They're going to spend summer at Amity Park because they had their cross-country trip. Danny destroys the reality gauntlet and drops Freak Show back at the guys in white, even using it to pretty much do the Jedi mind trick on them to leave Danny and his friends alone. And so the episode ends with Jack shooting at him.
And hitting him in the butt.
Yes. So.
Alright.
On the whole, for me, personally, I think it was pretty alright. I did like the cross-country stuff, and I actually did like the stuff with the reality gauntlet. I actually did like that.
I have a list of issues.
We'll get to that when I'm done. You two listed your thoughts. We'll get to problems when I'm done.
I love Freak Show, though. I will say.
Oh yeah,
I will say this episode made Freak Show my top villain for this entire.
Exactly. Series. I'm gonna go back to that. In my Control Freaks vlog, I mentioned that Freak Show. I liked everything about Freak Show except the execution for him. I love John Cryer's voice for him. I love his design. I love the way he acts. It's just that his plan was stupid. He has a staff that can control any ghost that looks into it, even from a video image. And yet he's just using them to rob banks or whatever when he could make an army. But in this special, he doesn't fuck around. He has a device that gives him complete control. And what does he do? He decides, I'm gonna rule the world. And that's exactly what he does. Once he gets full access to it, he twists the world into his image. And I love it.
He is a villain with the capacity, the will, and the entire aesthetic where he is a take over the world villain. And any other role where if you make him a petty crime villain, it seems that just seems flat.
Exactly.
That seems boring.
Especially if you give him the capabilities. But what makes it better, though, is that he doesn't act stupid in this one either. He didn't act stupid in Control Freaks aside from the plan, but here, when he learns Danny's identity, he goes for his loved ones, he threatens them, and to just kind of add a bit of a dramatic irony, he gives them a time limit because he's a showman, which I love that thing about the episode. He constantly wanted to be a showman.
He's a showman, but he's not a showman to the point where it sacrifices his ability to do shit, because that is the important part.
Yeah. He just kind of wants attention, which is part of the reason why he turned himself into a ghost, because he actually did make an entire audience to watch his battle with Danny, and when they started rooting more for Danny than they were for him, which I found hilarious, that's when he turned himself into this monstrous ghost.
Okay, so about the dudes, I have a thing about that. Sorry, I took notes.
Long episode.
About the thing, with the whole the ghost cheering for him, the clowns that he created cheering for him, those are literally they are beings that are an extension of him that he created as things to cheer him on, and they turned against him. The fact that happened, to me, that's that's on a fundamental level that he believes that ghosts are better, and so his creations are even going, wait a second.
We like Danny more. And I actually kind of admit that, and he did talk about that earlier.
When he was
sad. When he was ranting to Jazz, he talked about how his family seemed to love ghosts more, how they loved him more than him, and he even said, heck, I think I even love them more than me.
Basically, Jazz put it hit the nail on the head. Psychology, use it against him. He used that small little, big detail, but small thing to that person, and completely twisted it.
It's like the
It shows off the heart.
Yeah, it's like Aladdin. Kind of like Aladdin. Aladdin was able to trick Jafar by saying, the genie's more powerful than you, even though he's this all-powerful wizard. And so Jafar turned himself into a genie with all this immense power, and yet he got all the weaknesses that came with it. And so the same thing with Freak Show. He made himself into a ghost, but that made him susceptible to the Fenton thermos, so...
Don't worry about it. Anywho, so I want Freak Show and Jazz to be best friends, by the way. I want them to be, like, their own vigilante ghost fighting team.
Write your own fanfiction.
But because they are, like, you have to admit, they would have great banter.
I think it'd be cool if I think it'd be like an unwilling alliance. Like, maybe... Because they're both on very opposite sides of the law.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But, like, maybe like a temporary alliance, seeing them work off each other.
That, I mean, just...
Yeah.
Them together. They just frenemies.
Yeah, frenemies like that.
Frenemies, but
That'd
like, but like not actively enemies. More of we see each other, so we fight. But I miss you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually, and that's nice too. And on top of that, I kind of liked the stuff with the gauntlet. But I'm kind of a sucker for stuff like that. I love power objects. That's why I wear these every day. I'm not done yet. That's why I wear these every day. So and I always, and on top of that, I like the item hunt, so to speak.
My power objects.
This can make anything I imagine.
This can
my
break
thing.
you.
Why did he? Well, first off, I don't understand why he destroyed the reality gauntlet. Like I don't think that you should. First off, why is it so easy to destroy?
Yeah.
Second off, why would you destroy it? Third, if you are going to destroy it, why wouldn't you first use it? Seems it's an ultimate power. Why wouldn't you use it to make a way so that ghosts can't cross back over into the real world and just have to stay in the ghost world, and then he could just go about living his life and be a normal teenager.
Okay,
True.
Except one.
I started shit.
One. I'm going to go down the list. One.
Here
I
comes
don't know.
our video.
One. I don't know how it destroyed it so easily. Maybe without the gems, the thing is just a maybe.
It had the gems in it.
Maybe it wasn't active.
He threw it up in the air and he went. But he just used it. He literally got back from dropping off Freak Show.
Maybe it needs to be worn by someone. I don't know. But as for two, I personally think the argument is, if you have an object that powerful, nobody should wield it. Because if you have something like that, what's to stop you from turning into? What's to stop you from turning megalomaniacal?
Okay,
even if you have the best, hold on. Even if you have the best intentions when you have something that powerful, I personally believe nobody should have something like that.
I respect that, and I understand, but still, before they destroyed it, why wouldn't they seal off the ghost world?
I think that's also because they like people in there, because Danny's kind of frenemies of the people in the ghost world.
Then he can literally make it so that only he and his friends could go through it. And go through whatever door or portal he wanted to leave up. He could literally make it that way. He is literally the Lord of all reality.
But that's but again, would he have the right to do that?
He could break this fourth wall.
Do they have the right to come into our world and torment us?
But does he have the right to pretty much just trap them? What about all the good ghosts that come through? The ones that don't mean anyone harm.
Make a TSA in the ghost world.
Do they need to come through?
But what if they don't mean any harm? Like, for example, there's the Dairy King.
But see, do they need to come through? Is there a reason they need to be here?
Well, for them, yeah, they have unfinished business. Like the Dairy King. That was a ghost that doesn't really harm anyone, but he's not bad.
But then you can have them go through, like, you can make it so
and
that there's
a TSA.
You can have, exactly! Except more you can have, like, a human resources of the Ghost Bureau where they can just go there, they can work out their stuff, they can go about their merry way and stay in their home, because you know what? They're dead! So they don't need to be in the living world anymore, because they're dead!
In the defense, there are only 2 ways in and out of the ghost zone. Technically 3 if you count Wolf. But the only 2 ways are the Fenton ghost portal and Vlad's ghost portal. As such, there's not really
only
way.
2 ways, but how many ghosts have gotten through?
Touche. Very much touche there.
Ghost TSA.
But what about Danny? If he made it so that no ghost could enter the living realm, he still have ghosts. He still technically qualifies. What would happen to him?
But see, I'm not talking about, like, forcing them all in. I'm talking about, like, closing it off.
Okay, I have a question
Creating a border.
I have a question.
Exactly.
I have a question then. I'm guessing this
But
border...
not like
Let me
Donald
finish.
Trump. Not like
Let me finish. We're not bringing politics into this. Fuck politics.
Spat in my nose.
I am so sorry there, but no politics.
That's what you get!
No politics. We are not talking about politics except for next video, but that's only going to be in the description. It's an easy joke. But the thing is, here's the thing. I'm guessing what you're saying is it would be a barrier that'd be incrossable. Like once you couldn't get through at all.
I'm not saying that it necessarily had to be incrossable. I'm saying he could make any sort of barrier he wants. He could make it so only harmless ghosts get through. He could make it so only he could cross over. It doesn't matter. He didn't do jack frickin' squat. He just, poof, it's gone. Like, he had an opportunity to actually protect the world on a global scale and like, effect real change, even if it was just related to what ghosts could come through and what couldn't.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Argue
with me, I dare you.
I understand your viewpoint. I really do. But here's the thing, I'm going to talk about this from a narrative point of view. If he did that, the show would be over. If he did that, there would be nothing else to watch.
Based on this episode, it kind of should have been. Like, this episode was horrible. I'm sorry. Like, it was 2 minutes to find every stone. It was always like, oh no! 2 seconds later, everything's fine!
Yeah.
Like, that was it, you know? And then the guys in white would show up and it would be like, oh no, that's annoying, and then it would be fine. Like, even the final boss battle was resolved by him going, na 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 na, I'm better than you. Like, that's basically it. It was
a 5-year-old fight.
Boring episode as far as action goes. The plot, like the idea, the premise, the villain, everything like that, I love. Everything else I hate.
Like I said, dry episode.
Okay, I can kind of understand that.
Dry
actually. I can
episode.
actually kind of understand that. Like, yeah, like you have a point there, because it really was easy for them to find the gems, but I will still defend some parts of the episode because there were some legitimately good, funny things there. Like, I still liked seeing what each of the gems did in each of their locations. Like, seeing the rocket come to life, turn into a monster, seeing all the teddy bears there at Gotham.
Why does something sentient... Why does something that is turned sentient always have to be aggressive? Why can't it be, oh, it's a cuddly as a little kitten?
Because it has to be
I mean,
evil.
the rocket was about to be shot into space and then, like...
Imagine how you would feel if they just if you woke up and they said, "Okay, we're throwing you into space. Good luck."
And then when you come down, you're literally burning your way through the atmosphere until parts of
My
you just
body's flaming.
exactly. Like it's
Some people already call me flaming.
I walked right into that one. I walked us right into that one.
I felt like he grabbed our hands and gently guided us.
Maybe it was mindless. Maybe it was alive but didn't have a consciousness. I don't know.
I think it brought it more sentient to like an animal instinct.
Mm-hmm.
You know, terrifying.
Okay.
Okay. So I understand why you don't like the episode. I personally don't, but there are things in there that I legit.
Also, sorry, one more thing. Just because I feel like this, you're gonna have a response to this, so I'm gonna say it now.
Okay.
Also, Danny, all his because he usually has like fairly inventive thinking, you know, he's no slouch.
Yeah.
And this episode,
He wasn't as creative.
He wasn't creative at all.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was like smacking him right in the face, he didn't even he wouldn't think of it. How could you not put together that freak show had Ghost Envy?
How could you not
Okay.
put the factor that you set up the security system in your house and you ghost and it's going to attack you.
Yeah.
And you just said 2 seconds before that it attacks anything that is a ghost or has ghost energy.
Why would you go home? Why would you go home?
Why
when
would you sneak...
when the government just found out who you were and that you want to kidnap you and experiment you, why would you go home?
If you do go home, why do
that is a stupid... Even, that's a basic...
Use a ghost form and sneak in just in case.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Actually, kind of agree. I do agree with that. I actually do understand that, and I actually can understand where you're coming from with the argument, and I kind of agree to it, and I kind of agree. Like, I don't, like... I kind of make the argument that maybe the situations didn't exactly kind of have the I have to find a new creative way to do this, but also I can understand that they weren't giving him a lot of opportunities to be creative, which I think is kind of dumb.
I mean, like, okay, first off, another thing too. Why do they hide the gems in places that they didn't know? Like, if I were trying to hide something and not have it be found, I would want to know exactly where that was and exactly, like, how secure that area was. I wouldn't just be like...
Broad spectrum.
Send it away! Send it away!
Again, they were thinking about I think they were thinking of the last thing that was on their mind, and they were talking about prior to the concert where they wanted to go, still. I can understand that, though, yeah, because, like, if they never been to these places. They wanted to go to these places, but they didn't know these places.
And at the second same time, if you don't know how like this gem is activated or how it works or anything,
why would you
aside
send
from a
it to area-
basic idea, I
Yeah.
think it works off of touch. Why would you just
But
send it out?
Yes, actually, that's a good idea because the places they were heavily populated
oh,
by a bunch of
yeah.
people.
It's not a good idea. It's a bad idea to send it.
Why not send him to like Mount Everest or the bottom of the ocean or
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, he's a human. He like Freak Show can't
Or the
go
moon,
if you
or the
send it
moon,
anywhere.
or the
You-
moon.
Yes,
Or-
you could send it to the center
Send
of
the
the frozen moon or the orbits.
or in the center of the earth. Destroy
Yeah.
the gems. Just throw
Yes,
it.
just you could send them anywhere. And what does he do? They send them to heavily populated areas that they are not familiar with in any way.
Again, I would defend that choice by that was the last place on their mind, but yeah, I can understand that. These are heavily populated areas with a bunch of idiots
also
in
just-
all 3 locations who would probably think, ooh, shiny, bam.
I would also just send it into my back pocket. Like, he's obviously looking at my face.
That would be
Put it in
so-
my back pocket. Like,
See,
seriously.
they had opportunities to be creative, and you know what they did? They floundered.
Like, back
I
pocket.
think-
Poof.
Again,
In my shoe. He's not gonna notice.
I kind of think I think they just want to make a road trip movie though.
I know.
So they were trying to think of-
dry.
They're just trying to think
But-
of an excuse.
It basically turned a season finale into a filler episode because
That's what the last season finale was.
I know, but still, it's disappointing. Like just because they did it before doesn't mean that they should do it again.
That is true.
They made it into a filler episode and then just erased everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, go back to that argument. I don't like again. I understand where you're coming from. They could have sent them to better locations, but again, my argument is I was okay with the finding quest. I like stuff like that. I like that in Infinity War. I like seeing them find the gems and get creative. And I kind of like seeing that. And I did like seeing what the gems did in these locations. I was okay with that.
Mhm.
Like I actually do like that stuff. And again, while it was undone after this episode, which I thought was stupid, at least for his parents,
Mhm.
I did like the drama with Danny's identity being outed. Which actually, wait, scratch that. Forget that. I liked it for the 2 minutes it was relevant, but for the rest of the episode, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
For the rest of the
I
episode,
mean,
it
it's
doesn't
a
do anything.
minor. It's a minor inconvenience. The only
At
time you
best.
see it pop up is when they're at the diner, and then he goes and like pew pew, and then shoots all their phones out of their hand, and
Exactly.
everything's fine. And then you'll see it flashing on the Comic-Con screen, and then they're like, "Wait, everyone's dressed like Danny Phantom." Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it
the
did
other
not have
thing.
any
Cosplay.
relevance. It did not
Oh.
have any relevance beyond the 2 minutes that they had it on there. Which
Poor
is,
Tucker though. He
oh, no one
has
cosplayed as
cosplay
him. No
to
one
him.
cosplayed as him.
Well, I can understand why, no one ever cosplays us black people.
Crickets.
It's always have to be you white people.
You're out of the frame, by the way. You're out of the frame there.
Well, I'm sorry.
If this is dark enough, I wouldn't even be in view.
That's why I turned the lights on. That's why I turned the lights on.
I mean,
so we
if
can
we
actually
turn the
see.
lights off,
I still look like you still can't see.
Let's
part
turn
of
the
my
lights
face.
off now. Let's
If
turn the
we
lights off
turn
now.
the
You want
lights
me?
off,
You want me dark?
no
Here,
one
let's
will
turn
be
all the lights
visible.
off if you want, huh? There, now no one can see anything. You can't even see anything? No?
okay.
Mhm.
You said you wanted the lights off? The lights are just off. You have no room to complain now.
I mean,
can't
I
do my
always have
sister's
room to
shit
play.
till
I
then.
want the fantasy gem though. Like, do you realize how on point your cosplay would always be if you had the fantasy gem? Like, you wouldn't have to have a job. You could just pretend to be people.
Except, well, the side effect of the fantasy gem is that it actually turned them into the supervillains that they were.
Okay, you're better at just being like.
You lose yourself! They didn't even know they were nerds until they lost the fantasy gem.
Imagine
Well,
some-
then keep the Infinity Gauntlet and just use it for the cosplay value.
Okay.
if someone used the fantasy gem and they were dressed up as Thanos.
Oh, that would be terrible! That would be awful! Like, if they had the gauntlet
Wait.
and then they were just as Thanos?
They had the gauntlet still, and after they turned into Thanos, they thought about the Infinity Gauntlet as they already had the Reality Gauntlet, and they were like,
God, I am now God plus 2!
oh,
Actually,
God.
okay.
Technically, it is correct because the reality one is on the right arm. The Infinity one is on the left.
Actually, I kind of like. Again, I also like the. Again, I already mentioned how I actually did like that homage. I do.
Yes.
Because again, I like fetch quests. I like stuff like that. You have this all-powerful device. You can find each of the gems that have the power, and I liked that part.
Mhm.
I do actually, and I can understand why you guys wouldn't like it, but I was personally a
I
fan of it.
honestly would have loved this. Like, I would have loved this whole thing if it was like a 2-episode special or something.
Well, it technically was, because it was...
I mean, it was an hour episode, but it wasn't it wasn't a it wasn't two
Two-part.
1 hour episodes. Yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't
that-
a 2-part
Oh,
episode.
actually, that would probably be cool, too, because then they
That
could
would've-
have given them more room to breathe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, you could have went full tilt, and they could have broken it down and done like the first one where the gems are scattered, and then starting to look for them. Figure out how to find them. They could have done a one for each gem, and then they could have done a final battle. And they wouldn't even have to have done a special. They could just do like that whole thing, and that would have given it so much more meat.
Yeah.
True.
That's what I wanted. That's what I
More
wanted.
meat, yeah. I
It
can
was
understand-
like when you get a. It's like when you get a wing from some like Buffalo Wild Wings. I get wings sometimes, and it's just like this. It looks meaty, but it's really not.
It really it reminded
It makes
me.
you want more.
It reminded me of like the first time that you remember the first time you guys had to do creative writing in school.
Yeah.
Like first time you had to write a story.
Yeah.
They told you had to do like some sort of climax. Okay, you don't remember, whatever. They told you had to write like some sort of you have to get to the climax, then you have to resolve it and everything. And then now looking back, if you read it again, it seemed like that went really quick. Like everything was fine. Like you spent time laying
Yeah.
the scene, and then all of a sudden you have the plot, and then it's good done, and it's all like that.
Yeah.
That's what this felt like.
At least for...
They introduced it, they spent like 5 seconds fighting, and now it's over.
Yeah.
And that disappointed me. I wanted there to be more.
I can... You wished it had been more fleshed out.
She wanted the meat more.
I've completed my list.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
It's dry. That's all I'm gonna say because it's a dry episode. I couldn't get into it. I could not get into.
You couldn't even get into Freak Show because
No,
that was
I could get in Freak Show. I could get into it.
I
But
was
just
invested because of Freak Show.
Everything
Yeah.
else, it just kept like Freak Show brought it up, but everything else just kept on bringing it down, bringing it down, bringing it down, bringing it down. It's just it lost me because I didn't feel like it was pulling me in. I feel like it was like that one girlfriend that you had that just like keeps on pushing you away.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that in the end they turned kind of rapey, but okay.
Okay, so...
Well, that explains all the clowns.
Oh, God! Oh, God, you had to bring that in.
I'm sorry, now all I can think is of Deadpool. My birthday was basically just 24 hours brownie mix and clown porn.
So, my personal thoughts are, I thought the special was alright. I liked Freak Show. Like, this was a major improvement over his first appearance. Like, the first appearance laid the groundwork, but it didn't know what to do. And even then, that episode was stupid anyway. It had no plot cohesion. The villain's plot was dumb, and I hated Sam's parents. I did not like them. They were not funny. I did not like them, but Freak Show... I liked the stuff with Danny and Sam, and I liked Freak Show as a concept. But again, this episode, we consistently will say, Freak Show was the highlight.
Yeah.
Like, it did everything right with him. Like, it had him be creepy, it had him be funny, it had him actually getting a good plan and trying to execute it well, it had him actually being smart.
The only thing that I didn't like about Freak Show was how they took him down.
Again,
Like that was
Okay.
it, and that kind of follows along the same line of it was a really quick episode. Sorry.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, it also was a creative way how they took him down. They played to his ego and his envy, which I liked. Which I thought was creative. But and while I understand why you two don't like it, I was actually okay with the fetch quest going around because I like the road trips and I like the gem, and I actually do like the climax just to see Freak Show's world, seeing what he does with the gauntlet.
I just realized something.
What?
You're the kind of guy that goes on the pointless quests.
Yes.
I kind of am actually.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I played Spider-Man. I did all the pointless shit just because I wanted all their suits. That's all I wanted. I looked for all the hidden locations just because I wanted a suit where Spider-Man is wearing an ESU t-shirt, jeans, and just the mask. Because I wanted all the suits. But I actually did but again, I liked the trip just to see what the gems did. I like seeing what they did and seeing what they did, like the Rocket Alive, the teddy bears, and so forth. And again, I liked seeing what happened in the climax. And while it was limited, I will admit, and it was short. Like I feel like the roller coaster from hell. I liked what they did, but they could have done more.
Okay,
They could have done more.
I will agree that there were a lot of really good, a lot of really good plot points. There are a lot of things in there that I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
But everything else that kind of strung them together, there wasn't enough there for it to be, a great episode.
Yeah, I can understand that. It did. I will give you that though. It did feel rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like despite the hour it would have been on air, it felt rushed in what it was. Like they could have spent more time there. They just went from location to location. And again, the big thing, Danny's secret got outed. You could have done a lot more with that. And while there was one, and they did have one moment that I think I really like, because one of the things I say with the show, one of the things that I always like is the connection with the Fenton family. Like, despite everything, they love each other, they care about each other, and despite their quirkiness and despite their quirks, they all love each other and care about each other. Like, Jack may be an idiot, but he cares about his kids, and if they don't respect them and he knows that, it brings him down. Maddie may be willfully oblivious, but she does love her husband, and she does want to care about her kids. And Jazz may be strung up and everything, but she does care about the well-being of her brother and wants him to be happy. And Danny, despite all this, will do anything for his parents. And so when you have a moment, and so when they were all captured, I actually did like seeing the Fentons reacting to realize, if Danny was the ghost boy, why didn't he tell us about this? And then when Jazz reiterates to them, they do feel guilty because the stuff. Well, I understand that. He's a teenager. Teenagers would kind of have this mindset with their parents. They don't always have that mindset of this is the right thing to do. But when Jazz pointed out all the times they said they want to rip the ghost boy apart, they do feel a little guilty because they realize we probably did not help him want to tell us and everything. Which I liked. I liked that little moment, and that's the closest we get though to having it impact anything. Because the other things they get is the kids helping Danny out, which was one scene, and then that. Otherwise, Danny's secret being outed only made it so that the guys in white could follow them, and that was pointless.
That really was
they were
a
not
huge missed opportunity.
They were like they could. I feel like they were not. They shouldn't have been fully utilized. They were not utilized at all. In fact, they're idiots. Like the closest we've gotten to them as enemies was in the episode where Vlad had put a bounty out on Danny and Double Cross My Heart, which was last week, and even then they were not the main focus. It was Sam and the foreign kid. That was the focus of that episode.
I feel like they could have accomplished the same effect of having that they got from Danny being outed, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have accomplished the same effect if they just made him outed to the Men in White.
Oh, that would have been even better. Like his identity gets outed to them,
and that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have accomplished the same thing. Like they still would have went to his house to find him. They still would have
They would have given them more. They would give the Men in White or Guys in White more of a footnote in the story.
Yeah.
Oh, I think what would make it even better.
I think it also would have given it more action, like more thrilling fights.
Oh, I think what would make it even better. What if they were just behind them, like they were tracking them, like little by little they kept going, but they were always just a step behind, but they were getting closer and closer until just at the last minute.
I feel like
that would have added more tension.
Men in White should been able to get at least one stone for just like a little bit.
I mean, that's the thing, though. They wouldn't have had to, if they, in my opinion, if they made it so that the Men in White knew about him and not, that was it, then, they still could have made it so that his family found out that Danny was the ghost boy and everything, and they could have still had that moment there. And that moment would have had more of an impact because it wouldn't be something that you could not,
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be able to be just washed away like it is when you erase everyone's memories because everyone knew he was a ghost. Because when it's pinpoint that specifically,
it becomes a threat. Because these guys were hunting Danny. In the last episode, when they were hunting him, they said, "Why are you even hunting me? I'm not doing anything." That's because they couldn't, and they said they couldn't let they couldn't let PBS like him be running around doing whatever the heck he wanted. Yeah. And so when they have this larger threat going around, I feel like that. Actually, yeah, they just meant them as idiots.
They did it to themselves when they showed him the gauntlet.
Yeah, that was their fault. They basically gave it to... They literally gave it to him. They gave it to him, all 3 stones. It says, it doesn't work. And there was 4 stone slots. Why wouldn't you think, maybe you need the 4th stone?
Why don't you confiscate his jewelry? Put him in a, actual jumpsuit.
Why would you show it with him to begin with?
It's the Ben 10 Charmcaster rule of criminals. You just throw them in a cell and hope to God they don't break out. That's what they did at Charmcaster. They had an episode where they did that.
This was more of they threw him in a cell, they gave him the key, they gave him bobby pins and a locket set in case he lost.
By the way, here's the map of the prison too, just in case you get lost.
Here's a map of the ventilation system. Here's our schedule for when we do our rounds, and in case you need it, here's a stun gun.
No. Also, they didn't even lock the door. They didn't lock the gate. They left it open. open.
Yeah, they
Like-
forgot to latch it.
They just threw him in and said, fuck it, who cares?
No
That's
guards, nothing.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the guys in white are dumb.
Yeah.
The guys in white are consistently dumb though. So.
The men in black would not have done that.
See, you could have still had them that level of stupid though, and have them know about Danny if they just knew about Danny, and had them like so hyper focused on catching Danny that they didn't even notice anything about the reality gauntlet. Like that could have been a thing, and then like he would have been like, dudes, there are things happening right in front of you. Werewolf woman.
Oh,
they
but-
could have like
better
he would have
yet,
been like,
better-
no, we're focused on you. Like that would have been a total.
Better
He would
yet,
have been their
attention.
Adderall.
Better yet, I think the episode would have been benefited if Freak Show just saw them moving the gauntlet and had his ghost friend, if they hadn't ghost friend take it. Like instead of them having her already,
Mhm.
he was being in constant contact with her, but he doesn't do anything because he's looking for the perfect opportunity. Sees the reality gauntlet, set actually like fingers maybe his earring because that was the fourth gem,
Mhm.
and says, "I want you to get that for me." And then he escapes. They don't know about it. And then when his identity gets out, and Danny keeps trying to tell him, "Freak Show's out. He has this all powerful thing. He has this thing called the
But
reality
at the same
gauntlet."
time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't do that just for the sheer fact that showmanship for Freak Show is one of the reasons why I liked him. When he stood, like, when you knew that they mucked up because they had it in front of him, and he was like, ha ha ha, and then
Yeah.
explains himself. He doesn't just take it, he explains, this is how badly you messed up.
Yep.
That's why, that's one of the things
It's
I really
basically,
liked. Yeah.
it's basically when you stand over the person's body and you're like, you know you fucked up.
Exact. Actually, yeah. I think. Yeah. I think maybe it could be like a mix of the two. Like he does sneak it, but then when he makes his getaway, he just goes nuts.
Mhm.
That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, I feel like he shouldn't, like, the whole Humpty Dumpty concert thing, that was, just
Humpty Humpty.
Humpty, whatever. Fuck. But like I feel like that was a poor choice of venue. Like I feel like if he went after,
What if that was his first appearance of him on Getting Out, though? That would have been actually better, though. Instead
if
of
that
what
was
he
his
did,
first appearance, then yes.
that would have been actually better. But they kind of jumped the gun when they had him have the break. When they gave him the break.
Yeah. Well.
So my personal thoughts are it's a mixed bag, but I liked it for what it did right. I liked the fetch quest. I liked seeing what each of the gems did. I liked kind of the climax to a degree, and I loved Freak Show. This episode did him right, and it was a vast improvement over the last time they showed him. But I can understand why you guys don't like it because it was rushed. It didn't focus on a lot of what it could have focused on. The climax again, for what I liked about it, felt rushed and felt too condensed. Even I liked seeing Freak Show spreading the power over the Earth. That was cool. I liked seeing him twisting all the planet, but then you got the roller coaster, which it's a good possibility for a climax, but it felt too limited.
Mhm.
Even how Danny beat him was just kind of felt rushed and too quickly. And it was the Jafar method of taking him out. Turn him into something that was very powerful, but had this one glaring weakness that he could take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I agree. There was plot points I liked, definitely. But at the same time, like, the points I liked they don't equate out to the parts I didn't. I loved Freak Show. He was the saving grace for this episode. This was definitely his moment to shine, and I feel like they...
Yeah. But to be honest, I like the girl with the tattoos.
I mean, yeah,
She didn't really have a personality, though. I like her in concept, because I like the design and that. And she was creepy.
The character I like.
Yeah, she was creepy, and the biggest implication of all, she was the only ghost of his that was working with him willingly. Because
that could be like...
Get back in the frame, you're getting out of the frame.
Sorry. Well, I always forget her name is.
You're still out of the frame!
Danny's friend, the girl,
Sam?
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
I don't know, I'm forgetting her name. It's your name. I feel like that ghost would be like if Sam was dead.
Maybe.
Like 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
Actually, I would buy that. I kind of would.
Like that girl would totally rock the Sam style.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I kind of like the
You
implication.
should cosplay as Sam.
No. Never.
I'm sorry,
Dude, Tucker?
you don't have the legs for the skirt.
What about Tucker?
No.
You wouldn't cosplay as Tucker?
He doesn't want to do blackface.
No, I don't. I don't want to do that, but I'm not dressing up like Tucker for any reason. I'm not that kind of geek.
Oh.
Well, maybe I am, but I wouldn't cosplay as Tucker.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Any Spider-Man. They're all cool.
Well, there was one Spider-Man I was trying to remember.
Probably. But depending on what ring I'm wearing that day.
Any sort of lantern?
Except Star Sapphires.
Okay.
What about the Apocalypse cat?
Oh, you mean Dexstar?
Yeah.
I cannot pull off Dexstar. It's a cat. It is a house cat.
All you need to do is get a tail.
You
No.
obviously haven't seen Pokemon cosplays.
I'm not dressing up as Dexstar for any reason.
Anywho, we've derailed.
But anyway, yeah, I thought it was all right. I understand why it wouldn't be liked, because those are legitimate problems. That had pacing issues. It had a lot of pacing issues. It was many missed opportunities, and even there, and it felt rushed. It had missed opportunities, and even the climax, I think, the climax didn't feel all together, and even the resolution was just kind of dumb. But I liked the trip. I liked seeing what each of the reality gems did. I liked just the whole thing with the reality gauntlet. I loved seeing Freak Show, and I'm mixed on the climax. On the one hand, liked seeing the world, but on the other hand, felt very condensed and could have been better.
Yeah.
You're kind of like mine, but more veering towards.
Like, there wasn't enough in it for me to say that this was a good episode or that I really liked it. I do agree, I like seeing, Freak Show's world and everything, and I do like the whole plot, like the whole quest line with the...
Yeah.
With the Infinity, or not the Infinity, but the
reality gauntlet.
Yeah, and that I really liked, and I really liked the road trip thing. It should have, like, even if it was just like 15 minutes tacked on to the end of the episode, I would have been way happier.
True, yeah, just give it more time to breathe and have more time to explore.
Yeah.
And it was just bad.
Yeah. The only saving grace was Freak Show. That's it.
So yeah, those are pretty much our varied opinions. I thought it was okay, had problems, but overall I'm kind of satisfied.
Optimist, indifferent, pessimist.
Yeah.
Stripper.
No, and no. We are not.
Let's get this demonetized.
You guys have
Yeah,
fun.
I'm not even monetized.
You guys have fun.
No, you're staying here with us. Okay, no, okay, that's enough. That is enough. So that's pretty much our varied opinions on the season 2 finale. Okay, indifferent, just
Stripper.
sure, whatever.
Okay.
But on the whole, yeah. Those are our varied thoughts on Reality Trip. There are some aspects we liked, some we didn't, but we can all agree that Freak Show has done good. But yeah, on the whole, okay, indifferent, pessimist. Or optimist, indifferent, pessimist. Yeah, that's what you said. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson.
I'm Haley Dudley.
Timothy D. Hobley.
And I'll see you next week for the beginning of the end for Danny Phantom. And from what I've heard of season 3, that means a lot. That is more than just one meaning. And I also want to give it a bit of information that tune into a video that I'm going to be doing at least over the week, because if you've been following these videos, then you've been noticing that I haven't been posting on Tumblr for a while. I'll have a video explaining that soon. So sorry about that.
I messed up last time and said a naughty word, so we couldn't go on Tumblr.
Oh, I didn't even put that up there. I think that even if you didn't say that, I probably wouldn't have posted it either way.
What was the naughty word?
Masturbate. But yeah.
What the fuck?
But that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week, and hopefully you'll catch my video during the week about what I'm going to be doing from now on with this vlog. So, yeah. See you next week.
Peace.